You didn't choose to be quiet. You were trained to be, not with words, not with rules written down somewhere, just with what happened or didn't happen when you spoke. Maybe the room got tense. Maybe someone got angry. Maybe nothing happened at all, and that silence felt worse than any reaction. Before we go further, this video is here to help you understand certain emotional patterns. It's not here to label you or tell you something is wrong with you. So you learned fast. The way kids always learn the things that keep them safe. You learned that taking up less space meant less risk. You learned that your voice created problems. You learned that being small was the same as being protected. And here's the part that stays with you longer than childhood does. You never unlearned it. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why you still go quiet in rooms where you have every right to speak. Why you apologize before you've even done anything wrong. And why the very thing that protected you as a child is now quietly costing you your relationships, your confidence, and your sense of self. There's a concept in psychology called emotional neglect. And it doesn't always look like what people expect. It's not always dramatic. It's not always visible. Sometimes emotional neglect looks like a house that functioned perfectly on the outside. Everyone fed, everyone clothed, schedules kept, but feelings were never really welcomed. A child's inner world was treated as inconvenient, and the message, delivered softly, consistently over years, was simply this: don't be too much. When that happens, something shifts in the nervous system. The child doesn't process it as a loss. Children don't have that vocabulary. Instead, they adapt. They begin monitoring the emotional temperature of every room they enter. They watch faces. They track tones of voice. They learn to read tension before it becomes something louder. Psychologists call this hypervigilance. It's the body's way of staying alert to threat, even when the threat isn't physical. And for a child in an unpredictable emotional environment, silence becomes a strategy, a very intelligent strategy. If I don't speak, there's no reaction to manage. If I don't need things, there's nothing to be denied. If I stay small, I stay safe. This is also connected to what attachment researchers call an avoidant or anxious pattern, where a child learns that expressing needs either pushes people away or creates more chaos than comfort. So the safest attachment becomes no attachment to expectation. Just quiet, just compliance, just invisibility. This was not weakness. This was a child solving a problem with the only tools they had. But here's what most people don't realize. The strategy worked. That's the problem. Silence kept you safe then. So your nervous system filed it, tagged it, marked it as the correct response to emotional discomfort, conflict, or the risk of being too much. And now, decades later, that same nervous system runs the same program. Not because you're damaged, because you're well-trained. Every time a situation feels remotely like those early rooms, a tense conversation, a moment where you could speak up, a relationship where your needs might feel inconvenient, the system activates. Go quiet. Shrink. Wait. The child mind solved the problem so efficiently that the adult mind never got the memo that the danger passed. You might notice this pattern showing up in ways that feel completely unrelated to childhood. In relationships, it often looks like an inability to ask for what you need. You might hint. You might wait for someone to notice. But asking directly feels dangerous, like it could cost you something. So you stay silent, grow resentful quietly, and eventually pull away before anyone has the chance to let you down. This often shows up in conflict avoidance that goes beyond preference. It's not just that you dislike arguing. It's that disagreement feels genuinely threatening to your body. Your heart rate changes. Your mind goes blank. You either say nothing or you say sorry, immediately, automatically, before you've even had time to think about whether you did anything wrong. Many adults who experience this pattern find that their inner dialogue is almost entirely focused on other people. What do they need? Are they okay? Did I upset them? There's very little bandwidth left for the quieter question. What do I need? In career spaces, it can look like underselling yourself. Sitting in meetings with thoughts that never leave your mouth. Watching someone else say the thing you were thinking and receive the credit you deserved. Not because you're unconfident in your competence, but because visibility still feels like risk. And then there's the anxiety, that particular kind of low-grade anxiety that doesn't have a clear source. The kind that hums underneath a normal day. That's often the nervous system still scanning, still watching for the moment the room changes, still waiting for a consequence that hasn't come yet, but might. These aren't personality flaws. They are adaptations. Sophisticated, intelligent adaptations that were built for a different environment and never updated. Let's stay with that for a moment, because this is important. The quietness you carry, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't evidence that something was fundamentally wrong with you. It was intelligence, applied at the earliest possible age under real conditions with real stakes. You read rooms accurately. You managed situations that children shouldn't have had to manage. You found a way to stay emotionally safe in an environment that didn't always offer safety. That's not a failure. That's an extraordinary adaptation. The only issue is that adaptation was built for then. And you are living now. The path forward doesn't require tearing down what you built. It requires something quieter than that. Something more honest. It starts with recognizing in real time when the old pattern activates. Not judging it, just noticing it. Your chest tightening before you speak. The automatic apology that comes before a sentence is even finished. The way you reshape your words mid-thought because you sense someone might not like the original version. Notice that. Name it. Not with shame, with curiosity. The nervous system learns through safety, not force. You can't think your way out of a physiological response, but you can, slowly and gently, begin creating new experiences that teach the system, there is no danger here. That might look like one sentence said in a meeting where before you said nothing. One time asking for what you need in a relationship, even if your voice shakes. One moment where you let yourself be seen without immediately apologizing for taking up space. These aren't dramatic breakthroughs. They're small signals, evidence offered slowly to the nervous system that speaking doesn't cost you what it once did. Safety builds in layers. Trust builds in repetition. And your capacity to be present, to be heard, to be known, that capacity was never gone. It was just waiting for conditions that felt safe enough to surface. You learned to be quiet because quiet kept you safe. That child made a brilliant decision. But you are not that child anymore. You are an adult with more options, more resources, and more capacity than that child could have imagined. You get to carry the awareness they built, that ability to read a room, to feel the emotional undercurrent, to move thoughtfully through the world, and pair it gently with something they never got to practice. The freedom to also be heard. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not permanently behind. These were adaptations. They kept you safe. And now, one small moment at a time, you get to decide which ones you still need, and which ones you're finally ready to put down.